Funding for the Trade Best Practice Series is provided by the Benjamin Moore and Company Foundation in partnership with Teach Construction and through the generous support of PDCA sponsors and members. Let's talk about sanding. What you sand will depend on if you are on a residential work site versus a commercial work site, and how you sand is going to change as well. If you are a new construction commercial painter, you will sand differently than if you are a historical residential painter. But generally speaking, you'll be sanding walls. You'll be removing existing bumps and fuzzies from existing coatings. These fuzzies are dried paint, roller nap fibers, etc. And in case you didn't know, fuzzies and its counterpart, boogers, are terms you'll probably hear a lot that refer to little bits of debris that can cause a lump in the new paint job. It's gross. The whole thing. It's just gross. Patches. You'll be smoothing repairs like wall patches and spackling. Trim. You'll be sanding bare wood and previously painted trim. To do this, you'll be using sandpaper. Sandpaper goes from very rough, like 24 grit, to very smooth, 1000 grit, almost glass smooth. There is paper-backed sandpaper, foam-backed sandpaper, and sanding sponges. Abrasive pads or scrubbies are similar to what you might clean pots and pans with. Many grits are here too. And remember that with sanding, you'll want to wear your PPE, or personal protective equipment. That includes a dust mask, eye protection, and hearing protection, depending. Sanding is done in a couple ways. One is by hand. This is slower, but it's best for detail work. And yes, it does create more dust. The other way is by machine. This is faster, of course, much more consistent, and it creates less dust. So let's talk about dust collection. You can go the old school route. You get a broom and a dustpan and a dust mask. You can vacuum. Hearing protection may be advisable here. And there are some vacuums that connect directly to the sander that help with dust collection. You might need a dust mask and hearing protection for this as well. And while we're talking about using power tools like sanders, it's probably a good time to remind you to watch those cords and hoses. Trip and fall hazards are some of the top safety concerns in the painting industry. And with lots of equipment being used, you'll want to watch where you're walking. You'll want to remove trip and fall hazards. Whoa! How's that look? Did that look real? Did it look like I really tripped and fell? Properly stow cords and hoses, and never jumble cords. It's a complete waste of time. See, it's really simple. You just kind of do this. Something went wrong. Okay, so do me a favor and don't fall on your face, okay? Thanks. All right, let's go in the field and see some sanding. Sanding makes the surface nice and smooth before painting or in between coats. The finished product looks great and the paint adheres better. From doorways to trim, you'll want to choose the proper sandpaper grit to achieve the desired smoothness. On commercial sites, sanding poles will need to be used to reach those hard-to-reach places like I-beams. Sanding poles also come in handy for residential walls.
Devin over here, he's got our dustless sanding system. It actually has an extraction unit with a double filter. And what this does is, as he's sanding the walls, it is sucking the dust through here, through the hose, and into our filtered shop vac. So we can literally come into a house and completely sand all the walls and eliminate 95% of the dust. It's a huge advantage we have. You can see that the wall's been abraded and the previous stipple or imperfections have been completely smoothed out. And if you'll look at the baseboard down here, you can see absolutely zero dust was left behind.
Ah, smooth. I can go sleep on this, man. Okay, so we are in a new construction home right now. What kind of sanding usually happens in new construction?
Well, the first step for us as painters is after we apply our primer, we sand all the walls before we put our first coat of paint on. That gives us a smooth finish to put our paint on. And then we sand between each coat of paint.
So what are you using to sand?
Well, for walls, we use a pole sander. This is the one I prefer. There's many types of pole sanders. This is the one I prefer because it won't flip up and damage the wall. And then for trim, we use sandpaper. And for the walls, we typically use a 120 grit once it's a painted wall. And on trim, we use 180 grit.
And what's the difference? I mean, why would you use something different for trim?
So for the walls, you're doing sanding. It's already got a coat of paint on it, so it can take a little rougher sanding. With the lighter grit on the trim, you don't want to sand through your paint, and you want everything to be a nice primed surface, so you don't want to sand through your primer.
Okay, so the age-old question, which came first, sanding or spackling?
Nice question. The most important thing is to sand first, because anything that's raised up is sanded down before you apply your spackle, and then you'll have to sand again after spackling.
That's like 2 sandings though.
It is, but to achieve a proper look, that's what you have to do.
So what you're saying is you're spot sanding the spackling spots.
Yeah, that's correct.
Trade best practices. Power sander. Choose the proper sandpaper grit for the job. Then be patient. Let the sander and the sandpaper do the work. Don't bear down on the tip or edge. That will cause excessive wear and damage to the sanding pad. This is what the tip of a brand new sanding pad looks like. With careful use, it will last a long time. Sanding pole. An extension pole makes sanding walls easy. Move up and down or side to side. Be sure to cover every inch of the wall surface. You don't want to spend too much time on any one spot. The goal is to quickly knock down bumps and fuzzies in the previous paint film.
I'm Devin Hellwig, and I'm a painter with Carrot Painting. I was actually working at a gas station in my boss's hometown. He came in and seen that, I was working hard, hustling, and he gave me the opportunity to, better myself. So he told me to come in and apply. What I like about working with Carrot Painting is it's a whole new skill set that I didn't have. The people are great. It's a better environment. I see a lot more things than what I did working in a gas station. When I started 3 years ago, they had me on a lot of prep work only, because that's the main thing in painting. It's about 75%. And they progressed me through gradually. As of now, they're sending me on my own projects, doing little things like bathrooms, but it's all alone. Me going out on my own gives me a lot more satisfaction, and it helps me learn because I have to problem solve.
Next up, spackling. Yeah, I'm thinking about sanding in the morning instead of shaving. You know what I'm saying? Sand the floor. Hey! Sand the floor. Sand the floor. Shut! 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 They won't get this. They won't get the reference. It's Karate Kid. You guys, come on!